This is going to help them rebound because I know when you play a zone, a lot of times you not get to the point where you can box guys out, but they didn't get beat on the boards tonight.
No sound there for the first few minutes on YouTube. We have it back up and running, I think. Just to clarify, I opened up by just kind of commenting that the Jazz showed both a new zone defense and a Jordan Clarkson flame on. Ron then touching on just the fact that he watched a bunch of things in practice, and the Jazz being home and being able to practice. Let's dig into that zone because we first saw it in San Francisco at practice before the Warriors game, but they hadn't rolled it out. I actually talked to Alex Jensen before the game today. I said, hey, when do we see that? He's like, tonight, probably early. And there were some unique things to this zone, particularly the front of the 2-3 zone where Lauri Markkanen and Jared Vanderbilt. So what did you see?
Well, I don't know if you remember the Chicago Bulls years ago that used to play a zone quite a bit, and the point man was always Scottie Pippen. 6'9", long arms and stuff like that would generate things. This is probably the same thing depending on who's at the point. And the way they get into it is if Markkanen's man is bringing the ball to the floor, now he's the point man. Or if Jordan Clarkson brings the ball to the floor, now he's the point man there guarding the ball. And so the shift is always there, but then soon as there's a cutter, a lot of times they'll get out of it, or then it just depends on what kind of zone they want to play. And then other times they'll stay in it. But sometimes when there's a cutter, then you go with them, and now you're in a man-to-man situation.
So I think it's really interesting, the idea, we always played zone as a kid, 2-3 zone, guards up front, big guys in the back. In the NBA, where the three-point line is as potent as the rim, having a 7-footer and a 6'10" guy as the two of the 2-3 zone makes so much sense to me. Miami's done a little bit of it. It makes a lot of sense, Ron. The zone you just talked about was in a different era where the three wasn't as potent, but even those guys, Jordan was 6'6", Ron Harper was 6'4", Scottie Pippen was, I think, 6'7", 6'8". So those were big, long guys. The idea, you were going to play, the Jazz tried to play zone last year with Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley as the 2-3. That, it's just too much airspace. But you play Lauri Markkanen and Jared Vanderbilt in the front, you're taking away a lot of the court.
Yeah, you're taking away a lot, especially if they want to, shoot the three. Keeps you sometimes from dropping the big, even though they did with Vanderbilt over there in the corner with Zubac a couple of times. But it still creates a problem, I think, for the defense. The more the Jazz do this, the better they'll get at it, and to the point where they'll be able to rebound out of it and get out and run. But they needed something to slow down the dribble drives, and guys getting to the basket as often as they were doing here in this 5-game losing streak.
All right, the game starts with about as good a first quarter offensively as you can have. Now, the Clippers come in as the second best defensive team in the league. Let's be honest, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George didn't play, but they haven't played a lot. And this has still been the second best defensive team in the league. So this was a really interesting matchup. This was the Jazz fourth best offense in the NBA, Clippers second best defense, Jazz seventh best half-court offense, Clippers third best half-court defense. This was a super interesting matchup. Again, I do understand Paul George and Kawhi Leonard have not played, but they haven't played for 5 straight games. They're still the second best defensive team in the league. And Kawhi's only played 4 games all season. The Jazz come out and score 35 points in the first half. Listen to these numbers. They shoot 11 of 17. They miss 6 shots. They get 3 of those 6 misses as offensive rebounds. Their effective field goal percentage for the quarter, which is if you were to take the shooting percentage and make every shot a 2, was 88%. They shot the equivalent of 88% if they were shooting 2s. Their offensive rebounding rate was actually 60%, and their offensive rating was 167, meaning every time they crossed half court, they averaged 1.67 points per possession. That is a perfect offensive first quarter tonight.
It really is, and the way they get off to that good start in that first quarter, I mean, it's great. I mean, we see it from game to game, and just hope that the Jazz can continue this. And the more they practice at things, the better they're going to get at it. And then just thinking about something there, the downside of playing that zone, and I'm sure they'll get better at it, is you're susceptible to offensive rebounds.
Which they didn't have a huge problem tonight. They allowed 2 offensive rebounds in the first quarter. They allowed 3 offensive rebounds in the second quarter, and they allowed 2 offensive rebounds in the third quarter. And they finished the night allowing 17 offensive rebounds, which means, if my math is right, they allowed 10 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter alone. Is that possible?
I got a fourth quarter stat right here.
Yeah, Jazz
10
allowed
rebounds.
10 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter alone.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder if those were after the game mattered.
Well,
It
probably not.
It didn't feel like it actually felt to me the opposite. I actually have down on our notes on our rundown offensive rebounding because I thought the fourth quarter tonight, as we now go out of order, I thought the Jazz fourth quarter tonight, the Jazz offensive rebounding was the key. Jared Vanderbilt had 2 or 3 putbacks. Olynyk had a putback. I thought the Jazz actually gave the Clippers the medicine that everybody else had been giving the Jazz in the third quarter. What was the Jazz ended up with 5 offensive rebounds and how many second chance points? 10 second chance points in that quarters. They converted every single one of their offensive rebounds into points.
Yeah. So and again, this is something we're very excited about. This is I think it's out of necessity that they need to be able to have the luxury of being able to go to that and be effective, and they'll get better at it, and to the point where. But it's something where Will Harding has talked about this. They have to rebound collectively, and this hopefully will give everybody an opportunity to rebound the ball.
Interesting comment in our comment section from Roberto, who has been, I think, on before, but he says, Cavs fan here, whatever Will Hardy is doing with Collin Sexton, keep it going. I've never seen him hustle hard defensively in all the 4 years of the Cavs like I saw him tonight. I thought Collin changed the game, and I think we have the perfect description for Collin. I need to work on it a little bit. But my comment on Collin right now is he's almost a beautiful piece of marble. But the marble still has all sorts of rough edges, and it might scratch you, and it's got, it's not, and we're trying to polish it up so it becomes a really, really beautiful piece of art. But at times the edges are rough, and he shows it to you in and out. But tonight, the beauty of his marble is the competitiveness and the fire and the speed and the athleticism and the strength at the rim. He showed it defensively tonight. I thought he changed the game to open the third quarter with just his tenacity.
Yeah, he has that motor. I think that all of us will end up really liking. He's green around the edges in some more areas, as you just mentioned there, and he has his moments of really brilliance. But then there's times when he scrambles a little bit, and it affects his game. He's being talked to a lot by Will. Will is very much trying to make him a much better basketball player, make him more of an efficient basketball player, along with Mike Conley there as well. So, and I told you who is this that said
Roberto.
that? Roberto. He can see it. I mean, I think we can all see that he has the will, to be a good player in this league.
Sexton's drive numbers and pick and roll numbers over the last 5 games are fabulous. Some of his reads, things like that Ron's talking about need to get better. But his individual numbers offensively recently have just been outstanding. They were again tonight. It's funny, Ron, in this game I never said it out loud during the broadcast, but there was a moment I thought where I was like, oh, shoot. This is just one of those nights where they're beginning to start a run, and we don't have that guy. Like I had said this to you early in the year. The one problem we're going to have this year is when you don't have that guy and someone's on a 6-2 run, you don't really have a way to go stop that or make that. And Jordan Clarkson was that guy tonight. Jordan Clarkson stopped those runs tonight for the Jazz.
Yeah, in that third period, he really came to life. I look at my notes here. He only had 12. He had 16 points at the half. Ended up with 27. Didn't knock down a 3 in that third period, but he was getting to the free throw line, getting into the mid range, and knocking down some shots there offensively. But you can say that he did all this and he made free throws, but when he made them, I think was one of the big things.
And the corner 3 was the shot of the night. Tim Lacombe told us on the postgame, we didn't see it, that Sexton had started to walk it up, and Jordan kind of was like, come on. And Jordan sprinted to the corner and got that ball in that spot. I thought another player that was really good tonight was Walker Kessler. He came in a little earlier in the game than he had been in the past. There might be, I think that Will Hardy would like to play Walker Kessler more, and I think he'd like to play him earlier because teams play centers early and then usually go small and more athletic in their second units, and maybe that's where Jared Vanderbilt can thrive. So I thought that there was a little bit of a transfer in when the minutes were distributed to Kessler and Vanderbilt tonight, and both of them had great nights. It's worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, you can see that Kessler is getting better. I mean, he's reading, he's blocking shots. He had 4 block shots tonight, incidentally, and he's just getting much better. The more time he gets on the floor, the more he's going to help this basketball team. So getting a chance to play earlier and maybe extending those minutes a little bit. Vanderbilt's maybe leaving a little earlier and playing with the second group or something like that. It's just, again, Will is experimenting with a lot of things and trying to make this team better. And I like the upside of Kessler, that's for sure.
All right. There's been a few nights recently where 2 stars has been hard. 2 stars is hard tonight. I mean, there have been a lot of votes in our chat room tonight. The 2 stars. I mean, I can make a claim for Lowry. I could make a claim for Vanderbilt. I can make a claim for Jordan. I can make a claim for Collin. We just made a claim for Walker. Where are you going, Ron Boone?
I'm going with Vanderbilt and Clarkson.
I think that's a very fair assessment on your end.
Yeah. 12 rebounds.
Wait, you're Clarkson and Vanderbilt, you said, right?
Yeah.
Sexton deserves a little bit of love, though, is my only thought.
Yeah.
The 6 turnovers lead me a little, but plus 19 for Jordan Clarkson has been or for Collin Sexton, who's been quite honestly a horrendous plus-minus player. I'm going Collin Sexton tonight on the plus-minus. Some of the tenacity of that beautiful piece of marble, to me, wins my heart tonight. I'll go JC and Sexton. I'll go the guard line tonight. All right, those are our 2 stars. Feel free to vote on our YouTube chat. You see some of them already coming in. Andy went JC and Sexton. RR went Vanderbilt and JC, so we've all got kind of an even. Lacey says, I can't even pick 2 stars tonight. She's so happy. Thanks for joining us. This has been POSTCAST. Jazz and the 5-game losing streak of the win over the Clippers. Have a good one.